Today's notes are solving quadratic functions by graphing, and this is Unit 4, Lesson 6. In our previous lesson, we talked about solving quadratic functions by factoring, and in this lesson, we're going to make good use of our amazing Desmos tool to find those solutions graphically. So you'll want to fill in these first few blanks for our solutions to quadratic equation definitions here. The solutions, to a quadratic equation are the points at which the function intersects the x-axis. So the solutions are also referred to as roots, zeros, or x-intercepts. So you have three different ways to express those solutions, and 4 being solutions. That's another way to indicate those 2 points at which the parabola or quadratic function intersects the x-axis. This will flow nicely into our next lesson, talking about projectile motion. So we're starting to see visually how the quadratic equation and the solutions of the quadratic equation look, and then apply to some real life examples. So we have these this row of number of solutions, and we've kind of talked about this in various points of our unit so far, but you have 3 options. 2 solutions would be where your parabola intersects the x-axis in exactly 2 points, and that would look like when you have 2 solutions from our solving quadratics by factoring, and that's typical. And then sometimes we have where the parabola hits in exactly one spot, and that's where we would have just one solution. And then finally, you could have no real solutions, and that would be if the parabola did not intercept the x-axis at all. And notice it says real solutions because that parabola would then have imaginary solutions, and we will talk more about that when we bring in the quadratic formula. So let's take a look at some examples here. We're going to solve by graphing, and what you want to do, I want you to practice this, is type this into Desmos, and then you'll get a graph that looks just like my graph here. If you click twice on each of the intercepts, it will actually pop up with that ordered pair. Now, we have in the left column the list of solutions. So we're just going to write those in here. For number 1, the solutions, right, would be just the x value. It is the x-intercept that we're talking about here, the x value of these ordered pairs. And we write solutions in our fancy curly braces. So that would be -3 and 1. And that's different from our parentheses, which indicate an ordered pair. Next, in number 2, you can see that our parabola hits the x-axis at that point -5, 0. So it has exactly one solution. So x equals -5. And then in number 3, we have these 2 solutions at 2, 0, 4, 0. And I wrote 3, 0. Do it again. There you go. So x equals 2, 2, 4. Those are the x-intercepts. And again, those would be the values that would appear in our solutions if we were solving algebraically by factoring. We have a few more examples to look at here. Number 4, you can see these x-intercepts are -7, 0 as the ordered pair, -4, 0 as the ordered pair. So our solutions for x would be -7, -4. And then in number 5, our graph hits the x-axis at -3, 0, and 3, 0. So our solutions are -3, 3. And number 6, the solutions here, -3, 0, and 0, 0. So x equals -3, comma, 0, which is kind of interesting because that is also identical to one of our ordered pairs, but it means the two x values of the intercepts. And then lastly, we have a parabola, one of those examples where we have no solutions. And a way to write no solution is just this 0 with a line through it, a slanted line through it, and that means no solution. You can see I wrote that in there. No solution. It's also called the empty set. So when we think about how to write there are no solutions, this is set notation. So that means the set is empty. We put that symbol in those curly braces. And that concludes our notes on solving quadratic functions by graphing. Again, the Desmos examples will be available to you in our folder in Schoology, so you can take a look at those, see those all together, and let me know, as always, if you have any questions.